Biola Festus, Igbalaniyi Omoniyi, both are correspondents here at News Central. They are on the ground in Rivers State covering the elections, and they join me now for a live update of how prepared the state is. Let me start with you, Niyi. Good evening. What is your assessment of the level of preparations ahead of Saturday's exercise? It's just a few hours away.
In threefold. I'll start with the electorate. On the part of the electorate, I would say there are indications that these political and legal tussle that RISEC is currently facing might further dwindle the turnout of electorate tomorrow. However, we can't be certain, because if some people we spoke with said they will come out to exercise their franchise, and the majority of people as well said they won't come out. Some are even nonchalant about the fact that they need to exercise their franchise, knowing how important this election is, because it is about grassroots governance. However, we can't see anything for certain, because tomorrow we will be able to assess fully what exactly come out to play, if there is voter apathy or not. Now, coming to the security agencies, today we've seen a handful of sister agencies, security agency, NSCDC, the police, the military. In fact, if we joined earlier, you would have seen about 3 patrol vehicles of fully mounted army and military men personnel, if I could put it that way, on trucks just rolling past this way. In fact, they questioned us as well. And we've seen a handful of them as well across various places in the state. We've also seen patrol copters in the air trying to monitor the environment. And they've been a show of force also earlier in the morning, with all sister agency ensuring and trying to raise an alert and raise awareness that they are around, and of course to send a warning signal to disruptors that tomorrow's election there will be zero tolerance for anything such as violence. So on their part, we would say, oh yeah, maybe they are prepared. For RISEC now, there's a whole lot of gray areas and there are a whole lot of questions, because even as at late this night, there are still some ad hoc staff. I'm sure Biola will have more updates on that. There are still so many ad hoc staffs that are waiting to get assigned, presiding officers that are supposed to have been around or within the community where they are supposed to conduct these exercises. As of now, some of them have not even gotten the necessary things they need, or even traveled to this far distance. So we are looking out for how this will pan out. Everybody is looking onto RISEC and hoping they don't fall short, but with the way it's looking, we might be seeing some lapses, but we can't tell until tomorrow when we can give those updates.
Biola, let's take it from Niyi's suggestions about the distribution of materials. What can you tell us on that? Is that fully addressed, or we still have scattered cases of materials not being delivered?
All
right, we seem to have a problem with Biola's audio, so I will come back to you, Niyi. I'm hoping I can still ask Biola that question, but I want you to talk to us about, expatiate a little, this heavy presence of security personnel on the ground, and then we have allegations of manhandling by the security agencies earlier in the day. And then you add to the fray the calls by a coalition of parties for people to boycott the local government elections. What can you tell us about the mood of the people seeing the security presence and hearing calls to boycott? What are they saying to you?
Different factions. Some factions see the security agencies not as a threat but as a concern, because the presence of the security agencies, they say you see this much security presence only when we have the state elections or maybe the general elections. And just speaking about local government elections, and we're seeing so much security presence, they are concerned, not threatened, they are concerned. And for some of the factions, this will actually not deter them from coming to exercise their franchise tomorrow. Come rain, come shine, they've decided that it is their right to vote, irrespective of the situation, the political tension, or the legal tussle that is surrounding this current election. And it is also important to note that the the call for boycotts by some of the coalition and some political individuals, yes, is deepening and is beginning to make some think about or rethink their step as to if they will even come out tomorrow. So what most people who we've spoken to are saying is, oh, I'm going to sit back, I'm going to watch. They'll be watching television stations, of course, like News Central, to get updates and see how the flow is, see if everywhere is calm, see how the process is. Then they'll make their decision if they will come to vote or not. But as for now, they can't even decide. In fact, as of this evening, most of them didn't even want to talk to us because they don't know where they stand. So for now, there's so much uncertainty when it has to do with the mood here. But maybe tomorrow, when the political process kicks off, when the electoral process, kicks off, then we can say more as to if the mood has changed. It's no more uncertain this time around, and we see majority of people come out, or it's still going to remain the same voter apathy we discuss as usual.
All right, let's try Biola again. Biola, if you can hear me, can you acknowledge and just talk to us about distribution of materials? How prepared are the ad hoc staff to take on this exercise?
We left research today. Well, so we were at research earlier in the day, and we left at about 5:40 or 5:45 thereabouts. Now they haven't complained by the ad hoc staff that they were yet to be issued their letters and accreditations. I mean, without these people, elections cannot hold. We spoke to two of them, and they said they don't know what to do at the time we did. They told us that if they were not issued the letters, that means election will not hold. In fact, one of them called the election a charade already because, I mean, if by this time, as at that time in the day, RISEC had not pledged those people who are supposed to be agents at the polling units, then what are electorates going there to do? So that is the situation as at 5:45 or thereabouts.
Is the State Electoral Commission saying anything to journalists on that? Are they telling you that these materials will still get to the locations before 8 a.m. tomorrow?
Well, RISEC has assured that everything was working as planned. They said they were fully ready for the election. So have the security operatives as well. But tomorrow will define, or tomorrow will tell us if what they are saying actually is going to play out, until we get to the polling unit and find out for ourselves what electorate and of course those polling agents are saying. Then we will be able to know whether RISEC has put their words to action.
Biola, I'll stay with you because your report earlier was captured the announcement advising residents to boycott the elections. What sense did you get from that press conference about what these coalition plan to do tomorrow? Is it ending at calling on people to boycott the election, or do you expect to see some physical presence during these polls to try and attain that goal?
So the civil society organization groups in Rivers State said they were not going to be part of the election. They also said earlier that they are not even going to participate in voter education. They went further to accuse RISEC of gathering some persons they describe as political instruments to disguise as members of the civil society organization, just to fulfill that part of the Constitution that says they have to do civic education. And of course, civic education has to be done with the National Orientation Agency and of course civil society groups. So these groups have already accused RISEC of being biased and of course using those people they describe as political instruments to front a civil society group. So what they told us at the press briefing was clear that they were not going to be part of this election, and they advised electorate, of course, residents, not to come out for the election. So whether they are going to come out physically to enforce that tomorrow, of course, we'll tell again.
Okay, let me come back to you, Niyi. Because of the closeness of time to the elections, I will not mention parties, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on the allegations that a huge number of candidates moved from one party to another at the last minute. In that regard, I want to know what the people are saying to you about how they are going to know who they are going to vote for, considering the time frame where these candidates emerged.
Well, Felicity, it's few hours before the election, and before now, we know all the challenges and all the cards have been laid on the table. At various local governments, we've seen even some APC, some party endorse candidates of other parties, even parties that are not party candidates that are not from their own party. We've seen inter-party sponsorship. We've seen a whole lot of these happening before this day. And the truth is that everyone knows who they want to vote for tomorrow. They have that person at the back of their mind, but no one is ready to communicate that individual or say, oh, this is the person.
No, I'm not asking for the individuals. I'm asking, are they sure? Are they telling you that they actually know the candidates that they are going to be voting for? And is this enough time for the state electoral body to put these names on the ballot paper? Because what Biola is saying now is that there are still places that have not received materials needed for the exercise tomorrow.
Oh, no. They raised concerns about that. A lot of them raised concerns about that, saying, and that's one of the issue they also raised with RISIEC, because they said it's the electoral umpire didn't follow the 90-day rule, which would have given more time for civic education, for NOA to pass the right information, for them to know the candidates across various political parties that they are supposed to even vote for. So yes, I can confirm that some people we spoke to, some of them even say they don't know who are the candidates of some parties. So when they get there tomorrow, some might just be voting maybe in love or in affinity for the party, not necessarily the candidate that is going to be representing them in the party. And knowing how important grassroots politics is, it's quite concerning, because if you do not know who you are going to vote for, that means you're probably just voting for the party, which might be what will happen tomorrow. However, it is also important to note that there are some people who know who they want to vote for. They have the underground information of who the candidate is, but they are adding that information to themselves and just seeing how it's going to play out tomorrow.
Biola, your thoughts on the impact of these calls to boycott, those who say they will not participate, and voter apathy. How will the turnout be tomorrow based on what you've heard and seen on the ground?
So before we even discuss the issue of voter apathy, now some party men, some party faithful we spoke to from weeks ago, and even yesterday when we were in Okobo, when we spoke to some party faithful, they told us, I belong to Party A, but right now Party A is not on the ballot. So I don't even know what party I'm voting for. I don't even know whom I'm voting for. And then the person said it right there, that I'm just going to wait for my Oga at the top to give direction. So maybe tomorrow, many other electorates might be waiting for the Oga at the top to give them directive on what party or on what candidates to cast their votes for.
All right, Igbalaniyi, thank you so much for bringing us up to date with what to expect in the coming hours. And I will urge you, as always, please stay safe as you go about reporting.